here we have, I'm going to do the introduction to Sarai Knowledge, and I get the privilege because I've known Sarai for a good number of years now. I mean, Sarai, it's been a while, right? You and I have met. And so what I'm going to do, turn it right to you because you've got a lot of bumps and hype that I want to talk about, including what Marcy does. Together, you guys are going to be real interesting for the viewers. So I'm gonna turn right over to you, Sarai, to talk a little about your background.
Amazing. Hi, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. Happy Freedom Friday. I mean, we're doing it, right? Because we're not nurses. So we're already the black sheep of our family, kind of doing our own thing, right? So it's a pleasure to be alongside all of you. Congrats on all your accomplishments, on really just highlighting different things that Filipinos can do. We're so multifaceted. We're so ambidextrous. There's no limit to what we can do. We have the bloodlines of so many different kinds of cultures to kind of guide us and navigate to do cool different things. So I'm excited to share what I've been up to and to hear more what everyone else on this panel has been up to. I'm Sarai Knowledge. I am the CEO of the Q Agency. It's a marketing and event production firm. I do talent production and event production. I do marketing for small businesses and for talent athletes, some musicians and artists as well. I pretty much do live production for everything that's on television that's nationally syndicated. About 10 years now, I would say, for the Grammy Awards, the Oscars, the Emmys, People's Choice Awards, Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards, MTV VMAs, the Victoria's Secret fashion show, a lot of really cool stuff that I get to do under pressure for live television. So this right here is kind of like my comfort zone, kind of going live and just winging it and making magic happen. And and event production from all sorts of different situations. And I kind of sit there sometimes like, how the hell did I get here? How I got here? I've come from such humble settings. I mean, I'm an immigrant from the Philippines. I'm from a small island called Mulcabog off Negros Occidental. And we come from generations of this small, tiny island. If it wasn't for my dad who immigrated here and then, petitioned my brothers and I to come and grow up here in America, I just always felt like this calling, like, my God, my family did so much to get me here to this opportunity in America. I need to do everything I can, to really take advantage of this opportunity. And I think a lot of us, like, that immigrate here feel that calling. We do everything we do for our family back home. We're constantly sending buy-in boxes back. We're constantly always sending up money. We're paying for our cousins to go to college, whatever we can do, because we always feel this calling, like, we are here. We're so grateful to have this opportunity. We need to take advantage of it and at the largest scale possible. So although I was raised in Massachusetts, I felt that calling, and what a bigger way to do it than Hollywood. Move out to California, be that black sheep, don't follow the calling of being a nurse, and kind of just see how can I make a difference on the largest scale. Like, get in the belly of the beast, get in there. I didn't go to school for production, like some kids here, like Berkeley School of Music or Emerson College that are in film production. I just kind of worked my way into it, because no matter what you do, if you get a good degree or don't get a degree, work ethic is everything. Always work like somebody's watching you. Always do things beyond what your scope of your job is. Don't ever say it's not my job, because anything and everything could be your job. So just work that people are always watching you, and that work ethic will speak louder than anything, and opportunities will come and knock in. Walk through those doors, just always network, always try to help, always try to connect with people, always try to offer whatever services you can, and always try to learn. Don't ever think you know everything. You always constantly can learn, and you never know what those avenues will open and where it will take you. And I'm just so grateful to be able to have walked so many different lives from from the stage to backstage and in production, and then also platforming and highlighting other talents and other people's businesses. it's a collaborative effort, and there's nothing that we can't do if you connect with other people. I would say definitely that past mindset of like, I think we all kind of go through that imposter syndrome where you're like, who the hell do I think I am? How the hell do I think I can pull this off and do this? I'm just like, this small little island girl from a village. Like, how is it possible? So it's like getting through that hump, like that imposter syndrome, like I don't belong here. Just like realizing that you are in the right room. If you walk in that room, you're in the right room. So you need to be there. You have to have confidence in yourself. You have to know that, like, hey, you're the only one holding yourself back, right? So, I think that is definitely your biggest obstacle, is just getting over the hump of thinking that, like, you're not supposed to be there. And,
Right.
and you know,
This is awesome because you're like my rock star hero here. Without any talent, and I know you've been on stage, so you're not only doing production, you've done that. But part of one of the questions I did have is to go from sort of that pass and how you segued from sort of that entertainer on stage to really becoming that entrepreneur, right? And
right.
Q agency. That's kind of so you knew what to do, how to produce it, but now that's segued to what became the Q agency, and
Yeah,
now
exactly. Right. Like you said, I was an artist myself, so I felt the pressure, like Carlo, he's a musician. You feel that pressure of performing and being in front of people and, just being an entertainer. You put on a hat, you're somebody else, you're an entertainer. That's not really who you are when you walk off the stage. So it's a balance of like, just like Beyonce, you're Sasha Fierce or you're Beyonce, you're different people. So I really liked that. But then it came to a point where, I just loved seeing it as a whole, like seeing everyone's presence on stage and backstage. Can I be in control of that? That's so cool. Let me try that. So it's like being in control of that setting of helping people with their personas on stage and backstage, and then like highlighting that and like magnifying it was really what I found was so fascinating. So I think also with working backstage and event production and marketing kind of go hand in hand, because you're seeing things from as a whole broader picture besides on stage. You're seeing the person as a whole, the brand as a whole, the persona as a whole, and how can you elevate that and give it a voice or platform it or highlight it in any kind of way. I think that's just kind of like, I was just fascinated by that. So I think it's really exciting to be able to pivot and learn how to pivot and see things in a bigger picture. And that's just kind of how it happened. It really just kind of happened organically for me. I was just really fascinated by that whole other side of it. And I just started platforming and highlighting other people. And I'm grateful for somebody like Carlo that can sit here, because the moment I heard his voice last week singing, the national anthem at the Boston flag raising, I'm like, wow, I'm going to be working with this guy. And then here we are the next week. I mean, is that crazy?
Yeah, but I do have to agree because in my case, I've always as a performer, I'm always used to the situation that I'm on stage, but I never know what's going on backstage. I'm never, so this is like awesome having your perspective as a producer and like a promoter, because I rarely get to do that stuff, but I'm really so fascinated by it.
It's a whole other world. It's
Yeah,
really
exactly.
cool. It's just like there's so many people working underneath you, behind you, to make you that great, to make you look that cool, and I love that portion of it, because there's so much that goes into it and so much thought, and just, you believe in that person or that talent just as much as they believe in themselves. So it's just like a village and a community behind you. And I love being part of that. And it's so fascinating to me. And, branding, marketing, it's all the same thing. It's taking a brand, believing in it. It's taking a business or an idea and believing it and platforming it, just like as a performer or a producer. It's very similar. Art made 100 empanadas for our May Fiesta, so thank you. I'm so proud to be the current president of Central Massachusetts Filipino-American Association. It is now this year celebrating 30 years as a nonprofit here in Central Massachusetts, and celebrating Filipino-American culture. I so honored to be the current president, because I actually grew up as a kid in this association and looked up to all my titas and titos, and got to learn and really embrace my culture. When we immigrated here, we didn't have family, so this was our family. It wasn't until I was literally like in my 20s that I found out I wasn't related to any of these people. They were my titas and titos my whole life, my cousins my whole life, and I'm like, wait, I'm not related to these people? But they were legit my family growing up, so I'm grateful to have had that, and it really shaped me into being proud of my culture and knowing and really being involved into it. And so when I left California and we moved back to Massachusetts, I really was like, wow, this association, I want to see it thrive. I want my daughter one day to be the future president. I want to see it be cool and people to be part of our of this amazing association that I got to be a part of. So we've recently been doing a lot of different kinds of events to outreach to get the younger community involved. We celebrated the May Fiesta just a few weeks ago, and we had a boodle fight, huge Kamayan feast with 100-pound lechon, and we had everybody that was on the board, on the officers and members all cook. Everyone cooked all different kinds of food. We probably had 20 different kinds of food on the table, and we had the mayor of Worcester come to sit and eat with us. And he was blown away by Filipino culture. He was like, this is so crazy. I've never experienced anything like this. And it was such an honor. And then we had Escueliahan Filipino perform like a few dances, which was really cool that people get to see our traditional folk dances. I would say half the people there probably weren't even Filipino. They were just there to support the culture and eat, and they were really embrace the culture. And they're like, we're never missing a Filipino event ever again. So it's really cool. Like I said, Art made 100 empanadas for it, so thank you for that. Every member made a ton of really great food. And then I also initiated the first ever Philippine flag raising in the city of Worcester. The mayor also declared October as Filipino-American History Month. And this year will be our 6th year raising the Philippine flag in front of City Hall in Worcester. So I'm constantly always trying to do things within the Filipino community. We support other Filipino associations and events as well. And, try to really embrace and teach and educate people of the culture that aren't just Filipino, but just Americans that support and see how amazing our culture is and how talented and hospitable people are. Everybody, like all the titas are like plating up everyone some baon to go. They're like, please take some food to go. There's plenty of food. All my friends are like, oh my God, Filipino culture is amazing. You guys know how to eat and know how to party and know how to be hospitable. So I just love that we have that community. So thank you for bringing that up, Art. Really
I think that all kind of resonates back into entrepreneurship too, because you guys are both entrepreneurs in your own fashion. And one of the things that I think this show can provide, from examples, all three of you folks, is what can we do? We're leaders in our community. Well, what can we do? Not only help other entrepreneurs, I'll try to get feedback on things that you've done that entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, especially in the Filipinos, should be doing. I think one of the opportunities is really talking about branding, because you guys are both marketing people, right?
Yes.
So, Marcy, you can talk a little about the branding, the importance of branding, and how, we're subject matter experts, more you folks than me. I'm an insurance real estate, so I actually look for you guys to market my brand. So tell me about that. Tell me about Marcy, and then Sarai after it. How would you help a Filipino business owner like myself market brands, or even brands from the Philippines that want to come into the U.S.? How would you take that challenge?
Well, I definitely want to piggyback off what Marcy was saying, about, how do you bridge the gap between a brand in the Philippines and here in the U.S. Piggybacking off what Marcy was saying, community, invest in your community, invest in your people, wherever your target market is, wherever the area is, find out who's in the area. Reach out to Central Massachusetts Filipino-American Association, reach out to Phil M. Arts, reach out and connect with your community. That is the easiest, the best, most organic way to market your brand. That will be, your loyal followers and your loyal ambassadors for your brand, because you invest in your community and you connect with them. There's nothing better than, having in-person events, or having special tastings, or different kinds of marketed private, events and launches, product launches, with the people within your community and supporting them, and then they will support you back. I would definitely say that's hands down the best organic way to market your brand, to connect brands from different countries to your community. There's any business can dump thousands on Facebook ads and get a billboard, but if not as organic, they're not going to be like wholeheartedly into it. Where when you connect with the people and the community, they will post for you, they will go out for you, they'll be your ambassadors, they'll be your people, and it's just like it's just that good synergy that I think is really important too. So and that's what we do, I think, is an important part of marketing and branding. Because nowadays the power is in the influencers. The people have the power now with social media, so many platforms of social media. Even here right now, having a different platform. There's so many unique platforms that we can use. Those brands reach out to Filipinos in production and sponsor the shows. All the speakers on there will be your ambassadors, and all the people watching will be into it. Sanso, reach out. You just saw Emerson flashing your colorful cans and stuff. That's all really important. It's just finding out, like, where's your community? How do we support them? And they will support you back.
I'm gonna resonate what you both just said, because it's kind of one of those dreams I have. I'm an extroverted Filipino, as you guys can tell. So to me, this is a perfect forum to move not only domestic brands, east to west, west to east. I'm going to also put a plug, because even though Sarai's husband's not on stage right now, their grand opening's tomorrow, Kuya J Cafe. His signature drink is ube latte, right?
Yes.
So we're going to need your help, Marcy, as we move the brand to the West Coast. But we're going to start in the East Coast. But part of what I think this production show can do, it can move brands, and we can influence, especially Filipino brands. We can do it domestically, and we can move it. If we can move it domestically, we can take on those great brands called the Jollibees of the world, the development people of the world. And they're going to want to come through this group, right? Because what's the best way to move a brand but through the communities and through the nonprofits? But you're going to have to work with creative people like Sarai and Marcy, right? Because not everybody is built to be a marketing person. I know that, I'm Filipino. Okay, so I'm going to put a plug out for all you folks, because with plugging is creativity. What's the best way to be creative with your brand? You need music. That's why they have advertising jingles, right, Harlow?
Oh yeah.
Harlow's singing for those brands, and whether it's the
I mean,
national
I'm a
anthem.
little bit more. My kind of music is way different, because I'm guessing Marcy and Sarah are more on the mainstream music. I'm very traditional. I'm very classical with my music. But what I do to uphold the culture and to spread our history is whenever I perform, I make sure there's a kundiman in my set. Kundiman is still because kundiman is our own Filipino classical music. My friend Lauren Floric and I, we started our own duo, so we perform around Boston and the New England area. We're singing Filipino classical music as part of our set, and that's how we get, this is like our way of connecting the titas and the titos, and Filipino-Americans, Filipinos, and general audiences to this kind of music that has been, that you're not familiar with or has been long forgotten. And as for me as a classical singer, this is what I can do, and that's how I brand myself.
See, I think music transcends all generations, by the way, because
Yes.
I've got kids that weren't born and they listen to Led Zeppelin right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so don't think that the younger, the Z's aren't going to appreciate older Filipino music, and disco, Filipino disco, right? So you guys are creative. You know where I'm going with this, right? So if anything, you're going to get a lot of interest. We're going to say, what's that, right? And so to me, that's where we become creative. That's where we can move creative opportunities of blending music and entertainment into the brands. I don't think it's a one size fit all. I might be out there on a limb, but I think this is why we need folks like Marcy, Sarai, Carlo in representing all the brands.
Question here. This is for both Marcy and Sarai. So, in your experience, what does long-term success really look like in the music and entertainment industry, and how has your definition of success evolved over time?
I agree. Like when you're in production, there's so many different ways. Like relationships, like you said, Marcy, are really important. I think for as far as like longevity and success in the music entertainment industry is being open minded, because a lot of times like you stick to your guns. It is what it is, and you're like, I'm not selling out. Like, but what is really selling out? Like, oh, but if a song's not working, or your music's not working, or your production's not working, you're just like, I'm not selling out. I'm sticking to my guns. Like, good for you, but like that's not going to last, because this industry is ever evolving. You have to be ever evolving. You have to learn how to take criticism. You have to learn how to like pivot when you can, because like it'll move on without you. This industry will quickly move on without you. You're hot for 5 seconds. You're not 5 seconds later. And how to stay relevant and how to do that is to learn that like what you had thought was going to be is only temporary. It's only temporary, sadly, but there are many faces of you. You're not just that one trick pony. You can't be a one trick pony, because you will be outdated and you'll be outgrown so quickly. And you can't. You have to learn like, hey, it's not working. Like, when I first started, I was a songwriter. I was writing music for artists and stuff. And then like, hey, well, why don't you sing your own songs that you're writing? Okay, did that. Like, oh wow, you're really good with production. Why don't you start your own production? Okay, we'll do that. Well, you're really good at producing and working with artists. Like, let's start our own record label. Started our own record label. Then why don't you start cultivating other artists? And I became an A&R and cultivating other artists. Okay, and kind of don't want to perform anymore. I really like working with other artists. Let's work with established artists that are already, they're not up and coming anymore, but established. And wow, okay, let's start working on their Grammy performances. Okay, let's start doing that. And then let's start doing their press and their media. How about we do product launches for them now, So it's just kind of seeing what you're doing already and how you can step it up, or how you can work and have other relationships with other people and do something other than what you're already doing to kind of grow your name, grow your brand, grow your arsenal, grow your resume, grow, your relationships and your connections. And you never know, what you're good at, or what you end up really being passionate about, or how you can help the people that you're helping. And I know I've definitely helped and really cultivated some strong relationships to get to people to win a Grammy Award, or to get them to win. That I worked directly with them, and I know I helped and was responsible and them achieving those things because I believed in them and I was part of their performance or their production or whatever it was. It's just like being able to utilize your skills on a larger scale, and not just like, this is my one trick, this is what I do, and I'm sticking to it. I think if you want longevity and you want to grow in the industry you're in, or be a part of another industry that's bigger than the industry you're in, you just have to be more open-minded and kind of realize that, like, hey, you are more than one thing. You're greater than what you're set forth to do.
One of the things that I didn't want to talk about too is, there's so many Filipino entertainers out there that people don't always know. They say, well, they look a little Filipino, but they don't really know, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows Bruno Mars has got some Filipino, but there's a lot of entertainers out there that, and I think that is something that we need to do a better job getting out there to our community, right? Hey,
Yeah.
who won the U.S. Open? J.J. Smart. He's half Filipino.
Yeah.
Until somebody said to me, I didn't know, but it's like,
I mean, I don't know. I think if there's like, even if you're like an eighth Filipino, like Filipinos know about it. Like they're like, oh my God, Vanessa Hudgens, or like, they're like this, or her is like, Filipino, or Saweetie and Olivia Rodrigo. I think like, if there's like a hint of any Filipino, we're like, we back them immediately, and we're like, they're the cheerleaders. But honestly, that's on stage, but backstage, like literally backstage, there's only 4 Filipinos that I work with in all of the backstage of all the shows that we do. There's 4 of us, like the stage managers and the talent producers. There's 4 of us, and we all know each other, and we talk. We bring each other Filipino food and stuff. But we're underrepresented, definitely behind the scenes and backstage. We're definitely unrepresented, but we're happy to platform the Filipino faces that are out there, though, and we get excited to work with them when we do.
So jumping off of this, because I totally agree. So what's one lesson that we can all learn about community building that that every artist or entrepreneur should know that can be helpful.
I couldn't say it better than Marcy already said. Maybe the only thing I would add on is like, besides like, highlighting and like we both have nonprofits, and it's like, it's great to build your community and be a part of it, but also involve yourself in other people's projects and other people's community events and other people's association, because you're like, oh, how come nobody's showing support for me? Like, did you go to their event? Did you connect with who their community leaders are too? So I find that important at any of the meetings of our association too, is on our agenda always, like, hey, let's find out all the other community events. What other associations are there? How can we support? Who's going to go out there and support? We need to represent and be out there, so we show also that we're supporting you, because we want your support by supporting you. So support other people's events and projects and community efforts as well.
Well, that's a great segue to talking about upcoming events. And Sarai, talk about, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's this guy, Kuya J?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. So, tomorrow we are celebrating our grand opening of Kuya J's Ube Cafe in Cambridge from 11 to 3 at 101 Rogers Street in Cambridge. I'm so excited because, just talking about community building. My husband, he was so inspired going to Philippines. He comes from a culinary background and from a family of restaurateurs and stuff. And he just really fell in love with the flavors of ube and all the Filipino flavors, just kind of making them and experimenting with them and sharing them with like our Filipino associations of family and friends. And they were like, Kuya, why don't you sell these? They're so delicious. The lattes that you make, Kuya, they're so good. And he's like, oh, okay, why not? So it was literally 1 year ago this month in June that we had launched Kuya J's Ube Cafe as a pop-up. And it became really, really popular because we just focused on ube. And we would go to like state fairs and really like white events where they had no clue what ube was. And we had to like kind of educate people on what this magical purple vegetable was. And it was just really exciting. And just like fast forward a year later, why we were able to get such a great following and support was because we were so community based. We would go out to people's events, we would support and we would sponsor or support anybody's, things that they were doing. Anybody that reached out, we were always there. And, just being involved in our local communities throughout New England, we were able to organically like gain that fan base. And to open this location tomorrow, it's just really exciting to bring that into fruition, and I'm so happy and I'm so proud to be, Boston's first like ube cafe here. So yes, so I hope to see you guys there. Come to the grand opening.
It's not just about the food. You're going to have an experience too, right? You're going to have music and.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have a DJ. One of Art's friends that goes to Berkeley School of Music. He's gonna be playing the sax. We're also featuring different Filipino chefs. Last week we had Chef Ashley Lou Harris. We had a private dinner. She won Food Network's Chopped, and we had featured like 2 of her dishes. Tomorrow we have a young chef also that's going to be featuring her dishes too. And she used to own a donut shop for 4 years in Worcester. And now she just wants to cook Filipino food. So we're going to be featuring 4 items on her menu tomorrow. And we just really want to highlight local Filipino chefs and small businesses and feature them on our menus, do collaboration events, any way possible that we can all come together to support each other. That's what we're all about. Thank you so much. That was the best way to end the show. Great job hosting, guys. Awesome. And so great connecting with you, Marcy. You're like my sister already, so thank you.
Come on over, guys.
You are now.
Marcy, I'll shoot you an email because I'm interested in performing for that festival.
Yes. Yeah, you still have time to fly out here, but I do need to get to Boston. I've never been, guys. So
we'll be your hosts.
We're great hosts.
We'll be your hosts.
Let's get you here. We'll make sure we show you everything from lobster. You got to be a lobster foodie too, right? So,
yeah.
Ooh, it's a foodie tour. I love it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Thanks, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend, everybody. Enjoy.
Maraming salamat.
Filipinos are a force in music and entertainment. Fearless, dynamic, and undeniably talented. With powerful vocals, magnetic stage presence, and a natural gift for storytelling, they thrive in every corner of the industry. From songwriting and performing to directing, producing, and beyond, their creativity knows no limits, blending global styles with a unique Filipino flair. Whether on international stages, digital platforms, or behind the scenes, Filipinos continue to rise, proving they don't just belong in the spotlight, they own it. To be featured, call or text 781-399-5433, DM us on Facebook, or email support@filipinosin.com.